Hi, I'm the Recruiting Maven and welcome back to my channel. Today's topic of conversation is, are telehealth jobs for you? With that said, I just want to say a quick thank you for those of you who like, share, and subscribe to my channel. For those of you who are new to my channel, I have an ever-growing playlist with career tips and advice, so definitely consider subscribing right now. With that said, this channel is dedicated to discussing your career and how that is going to change long-term and short-term during the fourth industrial revolution, and trying to find solutions for you to stay relevant in your field or possibly consider a new one. So whether you're really comfortable in your current position or you're looking around to see what else is out there, perhaps telehealth or telemedicine, that is sometimes referred to, might be a good solution for you. We are going to be talking about current positions that are available as well as skill sets that are necessary, so that if you do have transferable skills, how will that actually translate into a new role for you in telehealth? So diving into today's conversation, I wanted to start off with those more entry-level positions. We're looking at customer service type of roles. So anything with patient service specialist or anything that has customer service specialist, anything along those lines is always great. Those are those entry-level, possibly, I don't want to say call center people, but it has overtones of that. So a lot of high volume calls or directing calls and that sort of thing. Secondly is those escalation positions within those, whether it's a call center or maybe just a hospital that's intaking a lot of the calls. And those are more the supervisors and type of management positions that would be available. Now, I see a lot of these job titles as escalation manager / supervisor, and then with a little bit of more to that title in telehealth, telemedicine. So when you do those searches, include some of these words that I'm giving to you. Clinical support assistants. Now, I found that to be very interesting because usually those are the people that are going to be keeping track of those digital files, right? And so it's not just picking up the phone and answering the phone. You're not the front desk, although, typically some of these positions or some of these people did handle some of those phone calls. But now it's sort of like a step above the customer service type roles, and you're going to be responsible for a lot more, keeping track of everyone's records, scheduling. So it's a heftier position. Another alternative for job search for that same position would be a medical assistant. And then you would add telehealth to that, or telemedicine. Now we can all guess nurses are going to be part of this mix, and just a lot of variations on the nurses. So we have registered nurses, so the RNs, the triage nurses, the assistant practitioners as well, and nurse practitioners in addition to that. So, those are sort of expected type of position, as well as physicians of various disciplines, so maybe an osteopath or just a general practitioner would be included in that mix. As you know, we're moving more into a remote workforce, not just because of the pandemic, but because this is just part of the fourth industrial revolution, how we're going to see the workforce change overall, and we're not going backwards, I will tell you that. So please make sure that you're being prepared for this and doing your due diligence, doing a little bit of research, and this is why we have these conversations on this platform. Additionally, there's a whole sector of mental health that is being presented in telehealth, telemedicine. So if you're a psychologist or a therapist of any kind, and I'm not talking about physical therapy, that's not really a telehealth type of position, at least not that it's known at this point in time to me when I did my research, but I will tell you mental health is such in high demand right now because of the pandemic and all the stressors that we're experiencing in 2020, that it's only going to grow exponentially. I will tell you that. There's, again, because the workforce is going to change, there's a lot more adjustments, and part of that adjustment is how we emotionally take in those changes. And so I think that therapists of various disciplines are going to be in high demand for sure. For those of you who are sales experts or want to get into the sales field, I will tell you the best candidate with transferable skills would be somebody who's already doing some kind of medical sales. It's not required. So some of the sales skills that are required in order to be able to take on these types of role is be able to manage data, understand the economic impact of telehealth from start to finish, be able to manage not only that data, but also to be able to translate it into reports that your possible clients would like to see. So having an economic background would be great. Some kind of finance would be to your benefit, as well as accounting. So just make sure that you're checking out those requirements, because sales isn't just sales. You're not just selling widgets anymore. Now it's being driven by a whole digital platform that you will have to understand how it's executed, so then you're able to sell that product. So moving into management, now there are practice managers, and those are the people that are running the digital clinic. So that really speaks to somebody who actually has HR background. The reason being, some of the skills that are required are legal, compliance, onboarding, hiring people, contract negotiations, salary negotiations, and just generally overseeing possibly maybe one of the people at the clinic who's working remotely. You would have to make sure that that person had the right equipment. And so there's a lot of detail that goes behind these types of positions. So moving on to more technology-driven types of roles, as you can imagine, software developers, those types of traditional positions. But in addition, the business intelligence, the business analysts are going to be crucial for that business. And they would be working hand in hand with the sales team, believe it or not, as well as providing current information, reports on a daily, weekly, however that is needed for that particular business. So there's a lot of activity for those BI type of roles. Now, on the more creative side, there were a lot of editor positions. So it could be video editor, it could have been copyright editor for the actual sites that they have. And of course, branding and marketing is going to be crucial in these types of positions. So if you have any type of writing background, that is going to be incredibly valuable to telehealth, believe it or not. Now, one of the things while doing my research that I found that very interesting, now UI UX is always really important. The UI factor is because you want to make that, as a developer, you want to make that experience as easy, as intuitive as possible. You have to think creatively. What is that customer going to want from our site? The aesthetics of it. Is it going to make sense to them? Is it easy for use? For those of you who applied recently to unemployment, those sites are not intuitive. They're a little just vague. Yeah, that's a nice way of saying it. They're vague. They're just not intuitive. You don't just automatically say, yeah, you go from here to here to here. So making sure you have that creativity, that you have that sensitivity to the user. I really think that that's going to set you apart from other UI developers, for sure, because one of the things I notice first is ease of use on a particular, whether it's on my desktop or a laptop or a tablet or wherever I'm at, right? Or a phone. I live on my phone. So I think that's going to really help your career tremendously to be able to move on up, as they say. So in terms of media, there are plenty of media supervisors, manager, and director roles. Those are the guys that are managing all the branding and marketing for a particular clinic, whether it's just one or maybe it's a whole network. So it's a pretty big job. So our last topic is going to cover IT security. Now, I did cover this in a lot greater detail in my 5G video, which I will post that up here. So the skills required for this particular position are just going to be a much higher level type of position. And I'm not talking about job titles, I'm talking about skill sets, because this person is going to oversee the security of a private internet network. And so that's going to encompass a multitude of types of delivery. So mobile, tablets, laptop, making sure that data is stored properly, that it is secure at all points, that it's being transmitted. So it gets into this sort of a web of just skill sets that are required, that are just, again, are just going to be that much higher level. So making sure that, if you're at an entry-level position, this is probably not where to start. But for those of you who are already in security, have a lot of years of security, this might be a good transitional industry for you. Now, this platform or this channel really is about making sure that you can pivot quickly in terms of, maybe if your job ends, You wake up one day and your industry has disappeared, and that has happened in the past. And because we're in the fourth industrial revolution, we're just having these conversations that are ongoing about how to prepare so that you're not left, holding the bag or waiting for the other shoe to drop, and you're getting a 6-month notice that, this is it. So make sure you're checking those other playlists that I have in terms of what are other possible industries, jobs that might be available to you, might be of interest to you, so that you can pivot quickly. For those of you who have, during the pandemic, gotten your hours cut, I would say make the most of it. Get retrained, get reskilled. Go to Skillshare. I actually started training on Skillshare for various reasons, and one of which I'm not the greatest video editor, so that's something that I need to learn and become better at, and there's no shame in that. We always have to learn something new. Might as well take advantage of that time in a positive manner, right? So make sure you're using your time wisely, because you want to stay relevant, or as I like to say, you want to stay working for as long as you can. But with that said, I just want to thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. I deeply appreciate your kind support, and I will see you in my next video. Take care and have a lovely rest of your day.